This is the young guy who I share what it's like navigating life as a young adult in the 21st century. The mistakes, the lessons, the wins, and everything in between. If you're growing, learning, and figuring out life as you go, you're in the right place. So, let's begin. Welcome to another episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Very much appreciative. I decided to be a little vulnerable. As you read by the title, honestly, I don't even know what I named this podcast, but by the time this is uploaded, obviously I have given it a title, but it's probably to do something with outgrowing myself, or outgrowing my environment in a sense. So yeah, like I said, just want to be vulnerable, give you guys my perspective. And if there's anybody feeling the same way that I am, which I'm pretty sure there is, because I'm not the only person on the planet feeling like this, that hopefully this can help you in a sense to maybe it could be like a boost to, like, you know what, I need to take the first step to explore new opportunities, or get out my comfort zone, or just get out of the environment, getting a little bit uncomfortable, and just taking that next step. So hopefully as you listen, you take something along with you that you can learn, or you can teach others, that something that you could just grasp on that can possibly change your trajectory, So let's not waste any more time, and let's get vulnerable, man. So yeah, like I said, the topic, outgrowing the life I once knew. Let's just put it like that. So a little backstory before I just dive on in. It'll make a little more sense. Let me first off say, to my mother and to my very close, intimate family, I love you guys very much. I'm so glad that I was able to be raised by you. I'm grateful to have experienced the life that I did with you and with my brother. It was amazing. Obviously, we had good and bad times, but that's with anything in life, and that's with anything in family. So kudos to you for doing the best you can to raise two boys on your own. It was definitely a challenge, and we did not make it easy on you. So very much appreciative for that, mother, and I love you. But yeah, so my childhood, it was great, right? I loved it. I loved everything about it. The friends I made, the people I met. The environment wasn't the best. Kind of grew up, I wouldn't say projects, but like in the poorer side of areas, right? Some people want to call it the hood, the ghetto, whatever you want to call it. I call it poor. Basically grew up poor. So obviously very limited to things. Wasn't able to do everything that everybody else is doing, or limited resources in a sense, right? And but we made the most of it. No, we definitely made the most of it. I made the most of it, because you generally don't have a choice. You just got to, deal with the cards that were dealt, right? Hopefully I said that saying right. I probably did it, honestly, but it's whatever. But yeah, so went to school, lived with my mom, lived with my grandma for a little bit. Then went back to my mom, and then went back to my grandma. But I'll get deeper into that. And then like a year or two after high school, I decided to like leave, because it just wasn't, I just wanted something different. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I just wanted something new, something to chase, something, just that hunger, And so this is where it led me, right? So it kind of took place, or like the first signs I started to notice of that, like that potential outgrowing. Honestly, it's just mentally how I felt. I felt mentally ahead, but physically. And what I mean by that is I'm doing all this thinking, this wandering, this eagerness to want more out of my current life. But I physically couldn't do anything because, one, no car, two, no job. I'm a kid. And three, I can't walk there. And three, I'm a minor, so I just can't up and leave. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like physically stuck. And it sucked. Mentally, it genuinely sucked, because I wanted, I grew up during the social media area. So obviously I'm on social media. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have been on it as much as a kid, because it kind of, I want to say it did me bad, but seeing some things, but it everything I saw on there, man, like the YouTubers or celebrities or other kids my age, man, they're out there living the best life, man. The newest gaming system and all that good stuff. But I'm getting off track. The point is, I wanted more for myself. So, and I knew I couldn't do it in the environment I was in, and it didn't all happen at once. It was like a gradual thing that happened. Like maybe, I don't know, plates, for instance. I know as stupid as it sounds, but like, man, whales ate on paper plates, right? And I was like, oh man, I wish I could eat on a fancy plate, or I wish we could eat on a plate like they do. It's like little things as a kid, you wish you had. I mean, obviously now I don't care. It's just a paper plate. At the end of the day, a plate is a plate. But as a kid, man, I was like, I want to be like them. I want to eat on a fancy plate. I'm tired of eating off this plate. My food getting burnt, plastic melted, and put it in the microwave and whatnot. So yeah, man. But like I said, the change, it wasn't dramatic. It was subtle. It's like walking into a room you've been in 1,000 times and suddenly noticing the walls feel closer. You start to get claustrophobic. You start to get tighter. And it's kind of like harder to escape. And just one day, I just remember waking up. It was just like a click. It was literally like an instant click. I just wasn't excited anymore. The same routine, same conversations, the same limits, and it's kind of weird when you realize that you're changing. It's like you're changing before you can even explain how you're changing. It's like you can't keep up, in a sense, with your own self, which is pretty weird because I thought I was the only one experiencing that. And maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Maybe those of you that are listening right now are having the same thing, right? Like the same routine of everyday life. Whatever stage of life you're in, you can always outgrow the environment you're in, no matter at what age. And we're talking about at my age, like a younger age, like 9 to 18, around that. So roughly about 9 years. I just felt lost. Like, I love the people around me. I love my community. I love everything. Trust me, I did. But I could not do it anymore. It was literally mind boggling. And obviously, growing up, underprivileged does not help either, and those things took effect. Depression kicked in, obesity. I wasn't terribly obese, but I was definitely overweight. I ate my feelings. I'll tell you that. My mom can speak for herself. Well, I was a little chubby kid. She probably won't admit it because I'm her son, but he was a little chubby. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, and I wanted to change. I wanted more for myself. I wanted more for my family. But you can't save everybody. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Over time, you can, right? But you have to help yourself before you can help others. And that's basically what I did. And that's what led me to outgrowing the people, because we were on the same mindset. And the same people that I loved, right, started to feel distant. Not because anything happened. It's just we weren't walking in the same direction anymore. And that's totally okay. We all have our different paths in life. And mine's, I wanted out, And I noticed we talked about the same things, the old stories, the old drama, and the old versions of ourselves, which is nothing wrong to reminisce or to have nostalgia of your childhood or your past life or what you used to do. If anything, I love those conversations, and I encourage you guys to have those conversations still. However, I wanted to talk about growth, healing purpose, things that made them look like it, things that made them look at me like I was speaking another language. That's what I wanted to talk about. And they were uncomfortable with that. I want to say uncomfortable, but they weren't used to it. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, why do you want to do this? Like, that's weird, bro. Like, why do you want to do that? That's like that's not part of us. That's not what we do. I'm like, okay, one, that's very closed-minded in my opinion. And two, that's the whole issue, because we've been raised to do certain things. We weren't raised to explore, to get uncomfortable, to try new things. We were just raised to get by, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, we need to survive, obviously, but we were just raised to get by and to stay stagnant and not to improve or just stay in your own little bubble, Do this, do that, don't commit any crimes, get good grades, uh, make sure you come home on time, make sure you eat, do your homework. All dandy and fine. But it's just the same repetitive pattern over and over. And the people I was hanging out with were all doing the same thing. So it's like there's no difference. And I don't know, there's like a quiet kind of pain that comes with outgrowing people that you love or that you care about because you want them to grow with you, but you can't force that on a person. You can never first force somebody growing with you because we all have our own journey. We all have our own purpose. Theirs may come later in life, theirs may come early in life. So it's not necessarily a race. It's just that my journey tend to be a little bit quicker, and that's okay because I just didn't want to settle I didn't want to settle for the life I had, and I didn't want it in the future, like at all. And the environment around me became a lot more predictable. You know, I was like, I knew every corner, I knew every spot, I knew the man walking down, freestyling down the road, literally almost every day. I still don't know his name till this day. I really wish I did, but there was this guy, man. I used to walk to my friend's house. His name is Zion. Zion. He's a great. I mean, I love that man. Him and his siblings, man, we're all close. Not as close as we once were. I wish we were, but obviously, I moved across country, so it's kind of hard to do that. But uh, I still love him like my brother, man. But anyway, there was this guy every single day, or almost every single day, I used to walk. This man is just freestyling. I don't know what he's freestyling about, bro. He was just freestyling, living his best life, man. Until this day, I still don't know his name. I really hope he's well, though. I really hope he's well. And there's a dog chasing me as well almost every day. Had to run, jumping gates and fences, man. Gosh, it was good times, man. It truly was, but definitely needed to change that environment, and it was scary because I was used to it. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know anything else existed. That's all I knew that existed. So when you think that's the only thing that exists, everything else around you, or when you get out to the world, you're like, wait a minute. This is not the way we're supposed to be living. We don't do this. This is what we do. You know, this is how we live, or this is how we eat, or this is what we drink, or this is our culture or whatnot. And I was just so new to that because of the environment I grew up in, which is no one's fault. Like I said, family did the best they could. And I'm very grateful for that. My grandmother, grandfather, mother, all those people that did amazing jobs. But they weren't taught that either. So how, if they weren't taught that, they can't teach it to us. And I want to break that cycle. And it was hard. It was definitely hard to break that cycle because I loved everybody. I didn't want to leave them. I didn't want them to feel some type of way. I didn't want them to feel like I'm better than them. I didn't want them to feel like I'm being a hypocrite or stabbing them in the back. I didn't want any tension. I mean, obviously there was, I want to say tension, but there's obviously differences that came with that. But mentally, it was just draining to me and I couldn't do it. And I'm like, this environment isn't for me anymore. I've outgrown my environment, not physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I've truly outgrown my environment because we're just thinking on a different levels. And yeah, so I guess I'll revert back to when everything happened, right? So yeah, so it really started to take effect freshman year, I would say. Uh, After high school, not after freshman year of high school, right? I was talking to my uncle, and obviously I'm very close with him when it comes to talking about things like this. Of like, because he, obviously we grew up in similar ways, right? So he understood my point of view of wanting to like, hey, this isn't it. You want better for yourself. You can't stay right here if you want to truly grow and and see life, right? And so we would talk about that, and I would ask him all the time, like, hey man, can I move in? Can I move with you? Go to high school up there where you're at and whatnot. And we always talk about it, but obviously the planning wasn't always the best. He has has a kid himself. So it was definitely understandable, but it sucked at the same time because I really wanted to leave, man. Like, truly, truly did. But eventually that time came, right? Overtime, of course. But anyway, so that didn't happen at the moment yet. So moved back with my grandma, went to a school out there. It was awesome, great. I learned a lot of things living with her because before I lived with her when I was a little kid. Now I'm living with her as a teenager, right? So definitely a different perspective. And I love my grandma to death. She raised me well, raised me right, raised me to be the man I am today. Um, so very grateful for that. But even then, I was like, thinking to myself, this is not it for me. I cannot do this. I need to skedaddle. So around fast forward, uh, 2020, when I moved, 2022, I want to say is when I left for good. The original goal was when I told my friends at the time, and they're still my friends to this day. But I was like, hey, I'm going out there, with my uncle, for a little bit. The goal was like 2 to 3 months, go out there, just get away for a little bit. And the original plan was to come back. Obviously that did not happen, considering why I'm making this podcast or this episode in a sense. And it's been almost 4 years since I left home. And man, let me tell you, it has been the best decision I've made in my life, but also the worst decision I've made in my life. And I know that can sound a little hypocritical. And what I mean by that, the experiences, the travel, the culture, the food, just everything. Learning about myself a lot more, understanding myself a lot more, what I like, what I don't like. It's just it's mind opening. From how many places I've done, it's not what I meant. How many places I've been to, how many foods I've tried, how many people I met, how many network connections I did. Man, it's been great. But the bad side to say, or the downside, man, is if you feel like you're leaving your family behind, or you feel like the people that you grew up with or were raised you feel like you're leaving them behind, right? And it just sucks to have that feeling because you want them to have that same mindset, man. And obviously, like, we all have our different predicaments. Some of us, choose to be that way. Some are comfortable like that. Maybe some of us had kids, and we had to take a pause on that, focus on that. A lot of different factors, but it still doesn't get rid of the fact that I just felt regret. I felt like I was at fault. I felt like I was being selfish. And for those of you that feel the same way, please do not. It took me a while to realize that it's not selfish to want better for your life. But I can't guarantee that you will feel some type of way still. You will miss your family. You will feel bad over, from time to time. And those moments will pop up. And it's still for me to this day, because I still want to help them. And I still want to be there, which I am, as much as possible. I go home as much as I can when I can. But it's like when you're out, doing that traveling and doing all these cool experiences with new people, in the back of your mind, you wish they were there. You wish they can experience this with you because this is a once in a lifetime thing. And I truly want that. It is not too late. It's not too late. Right. But when I first moved out, I moved in with my uncle, man. I was like, man, I never experienced this. Like, I'm on the West Coast, like complete opposite. Different culture, different atmosphere, different foods, different people, different everything. It's like learning my ABCs again, in a sense. And I'm like, man, what do I need to do for them to experience this? And I really wanted that bad. But my apologies, I'm getting off track. I am diving way too deep in. But yeah, so that is where I realized I was outgrowing my environment, which led me to my breakaway moment, or the moment that I decided to leave, man. It was like I said before, it was just like one deep breath. It's just one decision, one step forward. I didn't have everything figured out, but who does? But I just outgrown what was behind me. And that was enough to move. That was enough right there, man. you know, and it sucked and it was hard and it still is because you basically start from scratch. Obviously, I didn't have to look for my own place, which thankful for that. And this, especially in this society, in this economy, price of cost of everything is just horrendous. But yeah, looking for a new job, socially starting over, meeting new people, making new friends, having to make new connections, figure out what I wanted to do because I just got out of high school, right? So I had to figure out like, damn, what am I going to do with my life? I was what, 20, no, I was 19, 20, around that time. And I'm like, okay, I told myself I'm doing a gap year. It's been over a year, obviously. What am I going to do? Right. So it took a time for me to actually grasp that. And I've never, honestly, if I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if I hadn't left, or chasing the career that I'm currently chasing if I hadn't left. Because I decided to open the door for new opportunities. And it led me to here. And I'm so grateful for that. So grateful for that. So that part I will never regret, because if I hadn't taken that first step, I wouldn't have known any of this existed. Right? So it was that breakaway moment. I was like, you will never know what's on the other side of the fence until you climb it. I don't even know if that's the saying, but that was a bar. That is a bar. And I'm taking that to the grave. But yeah, man, I became a whole different person after I left. Just more intentional, more honest, more aligned. And for those of you that are thinking about it or wanting to, or you have the opportunity to right now to leave whatever environment you want to be in, do it. Take advantage of it, because it rarely comes, if at all. So if you have that chance, like seriously, listen to me. If you have that chance to leave, leave, because you do not know when that train is going to come by again. So you better hop on that train while you can before it leaves and you're stuck. Because the things you will miss, the people you will miss, you will regret that for not taking that step. And I don't want you on your deathbed saying, what if, what if, what if? You need to do that. To the future people you will meet, you will be grateful. To the future spouse you will meet, you will be grateful. To the future accomplishments, the future career, the future house, I don't know, future anything, you will be grateful for that. You will be grateful for that because you decided enough was enough. And I want you to look back on life and say, I did that. I took that step and I made a name for myself. And not only that, I made a name for my community, for my school, my family, my close friends, my loved ones, anybody, because you decided to take that train. So please, let me tie it back. If you have the chance to leave, please leave. Yes, it will suck. Yes, it will hurt. No, it will not be easy. But anything good in life or anything you want in life is not going to be easy. So whatever that may be, whatever that looks like for you, please do it. It is definitely worth it. I want to change it for the world. And it just made me a better person, a better human being, a better civilian. You know, I can go on, you know, and I tie it down to this. Outgrowing is normal. It is completely normal. It's like a butterfly. Over time, it has to change. It evolves from a caterpillar to a butterfly, or like a bee. When it sheds its skin, or some type of insect, when they shed their skin, it grows. It grows the physical environment they're in because they're evolving to a better bee or insect or whatever it is. And you use that same concept in life, you know. But yeah, I would not change it for the world, and I hope you guys honestly do the same. But I will say this, and I'm only saying this because I've experienced it. But obviously, you might have different experiences when it comes to doing this. So I'm going to give you some advice. when it comes to doing this. One, definitely let your family know, obviously, or let the people that you're close to know, like, hey, I'm tired of this. And honestly, who I'm speaking to everyone, but more specifically, I'm speaking to the young kids who feel like their life is stuck, or this is all they have, or this is all they know, or this is all they can know. I'm speaking to you guys. If you feel like you're stuck in that environment, you're poor, so you feel like I have no money to do this, there's always a way. Make a way. Don't let that be an excuse to live a prosperous, adventurous, nurturing life. I mean, there are, battles in betweens, right? But at the end of the day, you're going to win that war. You will win the war. You just have to get through the battles, and that's okay. The little hiccups. That's with anything. But don't let that stop you for being a person that you were meant to be, or who you can be, or who you want to be, whatever that may look like. And, today might be the day that you do it. You might listen to this podcast and be like, hey, you know what? He made some great points. I'm going to make that step right now. So I'm going to give you some tips of what you should look out for. At least from my perspective, this is what I picked up. So like I said, yours might be a little bit different. That's okay, but I'm still going to read them out to you because I can. Pay attention to the rooms that no longer feel like home. In other words, maybe you go to a friend's house, maybe you go to an event, it doesn't feel the same anymore. Yeah, you still love them. Yeah, you still care for them. Yeah, you'll always be there for them, but it just doesn't feel the same anymore. You feel out of place. You feel like, I don't know, you feel like a goth kid hanging out with jocks. I don't know. You get the reference though, right? Pay attention to the spaces where you shrink. If you see places where you're not able to learn, you're not able to grow, you're not able to challenge yourself, I think it's time for you to go. Because you in a sense, surpassed your old version of yourself, right? Pay attention to the people who don't clap for your growth. That could be anybody. The people that you knew or very close to. If they're not happy for you, obviously it's going to be bittersweet regardless. But if they're not wanting what's best for you, or if they don't appreciate you, one, it's time to go, and two, it's time to leave them alone, because we do not want any baggage while we're trying to excel, right? So if there's no one cheering for you, if there's no one that has your back or clapping for you or rooting for you, definitely need to bounce. You're allowed to leave. You're allowed to expand. You're allowed to become someone your past self will be proud of. And like I said before, do not be on your deathbed saying, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if. I want you to be saying, what a life I lived. I am grateful that God let me live this life to the fullest. So with that being said, outgrowing yourself is okay. Wanting more is okay. Bettering yourself is okay. And just wanting to be more free is okay. Because that's what life is about. It's a journey. There's no finish line to it. I mean, obviously, except when you're dead, but you get the point. There's no finish line. There's no race of when you should do what, or why you should do it, or where you should do it, or who you should do it with. It's just a journey that you should take time, enjoy the process, and just go with the flow. Sometimes you got to be a little spontaneous every now and then, I'm not saying be structural. I'm not saying not to be structural and be punctual and be, have a plan. Yes, you can still have a plan, but not too much. Have a little balance, a little plan, a little of a plan, and a little of spontaneous. And that is the best combination. I'm a witness. I'm currently living it. But yes, it's okay to do all those things. And you do not need to feel bad. And for those that are making you feel bad or talking down on you or saying that, oh, you're a hypocrite. Get them out your life. Erase them, delete them. You don't need them. They're trying to hold you back, trying to hold you down because they're afraid to leave. So they don't want you to leave. That's not good. We don't want that. So please, please, please leave. But yeah, with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, enjoyed this topic. I didn't want to make it too long and make you guys bored, but I really hope you enjoyed it. I got a little vulnerable with you guys, which is crazy because I'm uploading this for anybody to listen to literally across the world, which I am just grateful to do that in a sense. But man, I guess we'll see, right? Thank you guys for listening. It was a pleasure for you to listen to my vulnerability, listen to my advice, my mistakes, my growth, why I did it, who I did it with, the people I met. Just thank you. So until then, I will see you in the next episode. Syd is out. Peace.